Coming this fall, the story of a grape who refuses to be crushed. One grape to rule them all, and one bottle to bind them.
Whoa, honey, what are you doing?
I was recording an intro.
Okay, that's great, but we got a podcast to do.
Okay.
All right, well, this is We Know Texas Vino.
Will, buddy, welcome back to the podcast.
Oh man, we're sorry we had to take a week off.
Well, we're sorry. So some crazy things happened. We'll let our listeners know real quick. We had some items stolen from your truck, not my car, from your truck. And we got it recovered, though. We've purchased new materials. We had some people help out with that. That's pretty cool. But we're back in the game, aren't we, baby?
Yeah, we're back in the saddle again. Saying Aerosmith, back in the saddle again.
Yahoo, yeah. Well, we're actually here. We just did an hour and a half drive over here from my house. About the same for you, I think. An hour and a half. And gorgeous drive. I was telling my wife in Washington State, she's visiting her family right now, that it was probably one of the prettiest drives I had all fall. It's just absolutely a glorious day. And then I pull up to this road and I see longhorns. And I'm like, yes, Simon,
you're in Texas now, definitely for sure. This is my baby right here. But we're doing episode 42 today. Yes. And we're excited to do. We've had 41 amazing episodes. We're very blessed to get through the year, learning a lot of learning curves, but learning a lot of stuff, and then also evolving a little bit. But we're here at a great winery today. Yeah, it's amazing how we've been doing this now, not even quite a full year yet.
Right.
And the relationships that we have made through this is just immaculate.
Yeah, I've already adopted these two.
They don't even know it yet, do they?
I let them know about a minute into the podcast that's going to happen. So,
but I mean, it's just the people that we've met, and the people that we've come across, it's just amazing. Yes. And I've said this on multiple episodes that Texas wine industry is so much more like a family than a business
across the board. We're
here right now. It's just amazing.
Yep, great people. So social platforms for us. I know we're out everywhere right now. And tell us, we were just talking pregame about some of the countries we've reached to. Can you have some exclusive new countries we've popped our podcast into?
Well, it's kind of crazy. We just actually reached, I think it was Cambodia. Yeah, Cambodia.
What a unique country.
It's crazy, but we are now in like 30 different countries now.
That's awesome.
And Mexico, Canada, and Germany keep swapping back and forth.
As number two behind good old the country of Texas.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Or the U.S.
Well, awesome. Well, we're here at a great winery today called Triple N Ranch and Winery.
Yes.
A little history. We're going to talk about the history of this beautiful ranch. But in addition to that, I was just talking to Richard. He was saying about a 3-year-old winery. So why don't we introduce this great couple real quick and say, so this is Richard and Michelle. Hi, guys. How are you?
Hey.
How y'all doing? Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome.
The super friendly invite this morning. We're standing outside in the sunshine, and Michelle comes and starts moving Longhorn, stuff around, and then shakes our hands and walking. And then Richard's been nothing but a gentleman. He's got us all set up. We have wine here. In fact, you guys, who's the wine expert? Who am I talking to when it comes to wine? Are you both in that category?
And they look at each other like, who's going to claim that?
It was a joint venture. Actually, our son, Richard the second, lived in Italy for 4 years, and he worked at a vineyard. So he has the final say with our winemaker before anything goes to bottling.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good to know.
But I did go to viticulture and enology class. Richard did the legal and financial parts of the viticulture and enology classes. So, so it's
you both can comment. So we're drinking a great wine now. And Michelle, you recommended this one. You said it's a double gold, I believe. So why don't you tell us what we're drinking and some of the awards you've won from this particular wine?
Okay, so this is our Barbera, and it won double gold and class champion at the Houston Livestock and Rodeo wine competition, international competition recently. So we're very proud of it. We're down to probably only 30 cases right now.
Wow.
But it's been my favorite. It was aged in the barrel for a little over 2.5 years, and it's delicious.
Nice.
It warmed me up right away.
It did,
and not a lot of people are blessed to be able to have a glass of wine at 10:30 in the morning. So we feel like we're very blessed. And so thank you for that. So that we're both drinking the same one. If you like that, Will, that's
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
That's a take-home bottle of wine.
And
my
first time drinking Barbera is actually from Edge of the Lake.
Okay. Yeah.
And I enjoyed it so much, and I've drank those bottles really fast, and I just hadn't had another bottle since.
I got you. Well, thank you for sharing. So let's get into it.
That's an influence, again, from our son, because what he did after he graduated from Vanderbilt, we sent him to Europe for the summer. Don't come back till you figure out what you want to be when you grow up. And this and that. And he called from Portugal, said, I found a girl I'm in love and I'm moving to Italy.
Yahoo.
So anyway, so that's what he did. And he took Italian classes in the morning and worked at a vineyard. And so a lot of our varietals originated in Italy, south of France, or the border there of Italy and France. And the grapes just happened to grow very, very well here in Texas.
Nice.
All of our wines are 100% Texas grown grapes.
That's one of my questions, for sure.
We have a Sangiovese, we have a Montepulciano.
Negro Amaro.
yes.
An Italian blend, a Tuscan blend. Yeah,
well, we've heard great things about this place from many people, and there's no doubt one of the reasons is your variety, of course, but also your personality. Is you have a great culture. I've met some of your staff real quick. The band is here for your noon wine club pickup party. It seems like everyone gets along well. So the culture, you've done a great job, you two, of creating that with your son and your family, and of course the tradition there. But well, awesome. So we're ready to get into this. I think. Will, are you ready for that?
You ready to dig into this?
I'm ready to meet this couple and get to know them, and then of course adoption papers will be in the mail probably in the next week or so. All right. So yeah, reach out to us on social networking platforms. We're everywhere. My big thing on that is 5-star rating.
Yes.
And make sure you're doing that. I know with Apple right now, we have a great 5-star rating on that right now. So perfect across the board. I don't want to jinx it, knock on wood, right? And so Yahoo there. So episode 42, and we're here at a wonderful winery. We're gonna have some fun. And I'm so excited to learn about the history of this place as well. So why don't we start right? We jump into it. If you guys are ready. Yahoo, you don't have a glass of wine yet, Richard. Must be too early.
Now, usually we toast this with our.
Oh.
Yeah. So, but since you don't have it, well, we can do an invisible toast here with y'all.
So salute to this great family and tradition. Yeah, salute. There you go. Gotcha.
Ching, ching.
It is so good. Good breakfast. Now,
breakfast
Richard, you are a surgeon.
Yes.
So would you also personally recommend for a great all-American breakfast to drink wine?
Red wine is great.
Wine. Yeah, it is good for you, isn't it? So tell us about yourself, Richard. How did you fall into this opportunity as well as this amazing lady to your left?
Well, wine is about the only alcohol that I drink, and I'm not a beer drinker or hard liquor drinker. So, and our love of wine actually came from Michelle's father going to Napa in the 90s. His birthday was in September, and that's harvest time out there. And so we'd have anywhere from 4 to 12 people that would go out to Napa and stay for X number of days and buy a lot of wine and bring it back to Dallas. And Michelle's and they've had this Longhorn Ranch for about 40 years.
Wow.
And, trying to figure out something else to do with the Longhorn Ranch, because this Longhorn Ranch itself doesn't, generate income, and trying to figure out something to supplement that. And so she's been wanting to do something for many, many years.
Okay. So it was a conversation. So where did you come from originally? Are you a Texas boy, or where did you come from?
Born in Southern California, but then moved to Lubbock when I was real young. Lubbock for 7 years, but been in Dallas since teenage years.
Okay.
And Michelle was born and raised in Texas.
Texas girl.
Yes.
Awesome. Yeah. And so then you guys met. How did you all meet? How did you meet this lady?
In high school.
Oh, okay.
Richard's in high school in Dallas.
Oh, okay. Richard's, that's a big high school. Yeah.
Sure. She was in my sister's class, and I was down at Texas A&M, and
nice.
Came home one weekend and met her.
That's a pretty simple conversation. So let's hear the real story. Michelle, you're up now. Did you always have like a spark? You wanted to do something? You were part of the ranch. Tell us about your history as well. And then
so the Triple N actually stands for my mom's. She grew up on ranches in Texas. Her and her name is Nan, and so the 3 Nans. That's where we got the Triple N. So it's myself, my mom, Nan. I'm named Michelle. My daughter in that picture is named Christina. So she named it after the 3 N's. And we're 6th, 7th, and 8th generation Texan.
Nice.
And so her dad was a Bronco buster back in the 20s, 30s, and 40s at ranches all around Texas. And so she grew up on ranches, had a love for ranch, had a love for ranching, longhorns. And my dad was a prominent attorney in Dallas. I grew up with a 2,000 bottle wine cellar.
Oh, wow.
All my life, whatever house. We have one here at the ranch at the main estate house. You have to take an elevator down to get to it.
I may want to see that.
So it was a perfect marriage. But my dad got sick a couple of years ago, and he said, I want your mom to be able to stay here forever. And we had this wonderful old barn that these were horse stalls. This was all pasture 4 years ago. And I said, well, let's just convert this into a tasting room. And God put those words in my mouth, because I looked over my shoulder. I'm like, what? Like,
what were you thinking,
you're going to start a job at 59 years old? You're going to get a full-time job and go to work. So anyway, he said, okay. And we went to viticulture and enology school, and we called it the Triple N Ranch Winery. And it was funny because when I was in viticulture or in our classes, the professor would always say, okay, now what do you have? What are you going to do that stands out? that another winery doesn't have or whatever.
Yes.
I raise my hand and say, well, I have Longhorns. I mean, if nothing else, I have Longhorns.
Well, one of the questions I always ask is what sets you apart? But for sure, seeing the Longhorns when you drive into this facility, it's just huge.
Yes, it is 140 acre, 40 head of Longhorn. And, they've been registered and shown and everything in previous years. And you can see some of them, we have the heads on the walls. And people just love to come out. And when we do bring them in, we bring them in a couple of times a day with range cubes. And there's just a wall of people out there.
Yeah.
They love them. And people do call from time to time. When are you bringing in the Longhorns? What time? And
I
feel like a zoo, like we're running a zoo sometimes.
Yeah, zoo, and you have wine. So that's pretty funny. Well, awesome. Yeah. And so I know the Longhorns are a big attraction as well, but where are we physically located? I put in my notes, Trinidad, Athens, Cedar Creek Lake area. What is a good description of where we're located?
I'd say it's the southwest corner of Cedar Creek. It's an hour from downtown Dallas. It's easy drive on 175. And so it's in between, all the towns around Cedar Creek or Toole, Trinidad, Gun Barrel City, all those things. So we're between Malakoff, which is 5 miles south, and then Toole, 7 Points. So it's an easy drive. Cedar Creek, we've been coming to Cedar Creek Lake for 40 plus years. Her parents first had a lake house just about a mile down the road, and then started buying up this property and making the ranch.
Okay.
But a lot of the people around here live here full time, but a lot are second homes from Dallas. But we have wine club members from all over the state: San Antonio, Houston.
Wow, great!
Around, yes.
Well, it's a good location. Like I said, the drive out here was so easy and pleasant. It was amazing driving from North Dallas. So yeah, no doubt you're in a great location. But I know driving by the lake was kind of cool. What a nice attraction, and people can come here and multitask, right?
I love riding motorcycles all around the state of Texas, and so one of my favorite places all around East Texas because there's just you get all the tall pine trees and nice coolness and stuff, but it's kind of funny when you drive through these small towns, you find out all the different weird names of different towns. And as long as I've lived in Texas, and it's been 46 years, I've never heard of a town called Toole, Texas.
Toole. I drove through Toole. Yes.
I thought it was just like a play on words or something like that until I realized I saw the water tower. I said Toole, Texas.
Toole, Texas.
So it's just it's just amazing, all the little towns that we have in Texas. And then when you find little places like this right here, you want to make it as homely as possible. So when people come out, they will enjoy their stays out here as much as possible.
Well, and I wish people could see what we're seeing right now. And you guys have done a great job building this facility. So it was an old barn, right, Michelle, at one point, literally.
Yeah, it's a 40-year-old barn. It's just original floors here and upstairs and original beams and everything.
Yeah, it's absolutely beautiful.
So
I grew up in kind of a country boy. So when I came out here, I'm just in heaven out here. This is my wife, a little more of a city girl, right? But I think if I had it perfect, it would be something similar to this. And so when I took pictures of the building and of the pastures and of the Longhorns, and that to me was really attractive. So I can see why people from Houston and San Antonio want to get up here and be part of this wine club and community because it's such a pleasant area. Have you had really positive feedback from folks all around the state of Texas? And do other people from outside come to see you based on your marketing or how are you able to reach out to those folks, the tourists of the world?
Well, we pretty much market to the Cedar Creek Lake people that have homes here, that had homes on Cedar Creek Lake or Lake Athens, but as well as the bigger towns of Athens and Corsicana. But we have a lot of people that drive out from DFW just for an afternoon or 3 or 4 hour afternoon to eat and drink and sit out and just be peaceful in the countryside. It is really beautiful.
And like quiet. Today, you're going to have everybody just packed outside there because it's going to be a nice day.
Yes, sir.
And then we have, these outside area on both sides and, different activities and things like that.
Yeah. And then back to the Longhorns. I'm actually, she said she'd bring the Longhorns in for us. So I'm like a little kid right now. It's like, I can't wait to see that. So, well, cool. Well, let's talk about your business model a little bit. So you have the winery, you have the ranch. I think you said you're kind of like the winery is kind of in addition to the ranch in order to kind of, subsidize and that sort of thing. I know you're a surgeon. Michelle, I don't know if you are just a business owner, entrepreneur, but tell us about your business model. You have great staff here. How many staff do you have? What days are you open? Why are you open? And maybe kind of elaborate on what you're trying to accomplish.
So we are open Thursday afternoons or evenings, and Friday evenings, and Saturday from 11 to 6:30. From after Valentine's and up until Thanksgiving, we have tribute concerts every Saturday night. And when we opened, that's how we first opened because it was COVID, and COVID I mean, we opened right in the heart of COVID, August 2020. And so they said, you're a bar, wineries are a bar, you can't open. So we did something where they could come buy a bottle of wine. We partnered with Pecan Lodge in Dallas, who made box meals for us. And so they would get their box meals, walk off our bonded area to the private estate, which is a big pavilion. We'd have 150 200 people a night because they could social distance, sort of like at the Dallas Arboretum, bring their own chairs and social as far as they want and have great music, a great meal, and just get out. And then the TABC said, if you just put 4 or 5 hot things on your menu, we'll let you open. But so we never really envisioned being a restaurant. People still call to make a dinner reservation. We're like, well, we close at 7 because we are a winery. But we do have a great chef, and we really embraced it and love to serve a lot of really great carbs. We got a wood burning pizza oven out there.
I saw a young lady grabbing pieces of wood and heading toward that this morning when I was wandering. I'm like, that looks fun.
So yeah, it gets up to 700 degrees and we make the artisan style again for my son who lived in Italy. That was his instrument of getting that here, and he comes out and trains from time to time. And then we have sourdough breads. We make all kinds of breads. Like I said this morning, we're having whiskey bread pudding. But we have also pull apart cheese breads and different things like that, paninis. So
sliders, paninis,
man,
different things.
You sold me on the bread pudding.
I was say that's how they get a guy like me to stick around for the whole day. Everything else you said
after that was like bread pudding's all I heard.
Well, we figured we wanted to be more responsible because people are driving a distance because we do live out in the middle of nowhere. Sometimes people call and say, why do I have to have a reservation? I said, well, we want everybody to have the ultimate experience, and a lot of our staff do live in Dallas or Plano or Corsicana or Athens. They have ways to drive, and we want to be properly staffed so you have a great time while you are here. Most of our staff are all teachers, principals, coaches from local schools. They're all great. We love them. They're very loyal. We probably have about 15 to 15 regular staff that we've had, and we just love them.
Well, that's a good group to jump into because, they work decent hours, right? Call them banking hours, and they have evenings free. A lot of times they wanted to supplement their income as well. Plus, being part, teachers tend to be more creative and having fun, and they tend to be people. So it's good to have them out here with good personal skills and help out.
And they love the music. They love the wine. They love the food. They
love the wine.
All the free food and wine they want.
That's for sure.
We have a good time.
I know some teachers, they definitely like their wine, especially when the school year starts. That's a good time for them.
Or the holiday start.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, Richard, what is your role here, and you can elaborate on what we just talked about as well, but I know you are a busy man, working full time, I believe, and then living in Dallas. And so what is your role here, and how do you cooperate with everyone?
So I do a lot of the book work, the paperwork. There's a lot of that with wineries or any kind of alcohol-related type things with ABC and all the filings and so forth. But then also, help with training the staff and the servers, and just kind of I mainly work the bar area and just kind of help out with what needs to be done and so forth.
Decision maker. You get to handle the money.
Well, and being a surgeon, he definitely keeps us legal because there are a lot of rules and a lot of everything and to follow. And you've probably noticed there's a lot of doctors getting into the wine business.
Yep,
and I think it's
that.
Because they were so great in chemistry too, and they understand, that part of the enology part of making wine and bottling wine and things like that. But no, he's great at all of keeping us legal and all of the bookkeeping and all the taxes and dealing with all of the legal requirements and they
doing
are
everything
a lot
to stay in business.
Yeah, right.
A lot.
Well, it's a blessing though, and having a gentleman like that, or your husband, but also just someone who does that, so it's off your plate. You get to do what I've already sensed that you do, which is you are the connector. You're the one who brings in.
He's the creative person, the designer, decorator of
very
all
nice.
Yeah, because us guys, we don't decorate.
Well, some do, but mostly don't. Yeah, mostly we just drink wine.
Well, you mentioned, Michelle, earlier that you went to college. So I noticed you went for viticulture and enology. So I noticed you went to Grayson.
Yes.
Who was your professor?
Andrew Snyder.
Andrew Snyder? Okay. Yeah. So I'm actually going to Grayson also.
Okay.
So he actually now is over the spirits part of it.
That's what we heard.
Yes.
And then
they were building that, when I was there.
Oh, it's a DOS facility.
And then who's taking it over?
Andy.
Andy.
The other Andy, yes.
It was Andrew and Andy Anderson, no.
No, Andy something or another.
Yeah.
I can't remember his last name.
Yeah, he taught some of our classes too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Sorry,
Andrew set up our vineyard too.
Really?
Oh, okay. Very good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Both of them are great gentlemen.
Yes.
Very knowledgeable of the grape industry or the viticulture and the enology side of it. So I'm excited about, the springtime. Now I have to do my internship also.
Okay,
so
great.
There you go.
You can come out here.
Welcome to come out here.
Well, I was going
Please. We got places where you can stay and everything.
Oh my God, that sounds beautiful.
Well, and my parents actually live in Jacksonville, so not too far from here. Yeah, so
not that far at all.
We've been excited about that. It's funny bringing that up, Will, is that we've met so many people who've gone through that Grayson program, and we've had Texas Tech, Texas A&M as well. That's really, but Grayson's really doing a good job. Was that a great experience for you at Grayson? You learned a ton.
It was. They did a good job. More than anything, it was just wonderful because it was convenient.
Right.
I mean, I'm not going to move to Lubbock or move down to College Station, but it was great, and it was all on weekends.
Yep.
We met a lot of other people in the exact same place that we were, or I was, and thinking about starting, and just sharing ideas. We went to a lot of vineyards in East Texas. Andrew was great, doing field trips, a lot of hands-on. I'm sure you're doing the same. And then a lot of times, because he was on call, sometimes on Saturday when I'd be coming back, I would stop at different vineyards, wineries between Grayson and our home in North Dallas, and check them out personally and
get
talk
ideas,
to them and get ideas and
pick their brains a little bit.
Yeah,
very
and
smart.
Call them later and say, "Is it all right if I sort of borrow your idea? The tribute concerts and how do you do it? How does it work?" And so it was great. And Eden Hill, some of them.
A lot of our history too goes down to the hill country.
Okay,
because Michelle's mom was born and raised down in Fredericksburg, and my parents lived down in Horseshoe Bay.
Okay.
And so we've been going down there for decades as well, and are friends with a number of the wineries down in the hill country, and back with Richard Becker back in the early 90s or when he started. And there was like only 3 wineries down there, and now there's like
that's
50
incredible.
or 60.
Yeah.
And, we know, a good half dozen very close and well. And that was another part of our interest and love of the wine business.
That's very cool.
They were so helpful. Dr. Becker let us come down and pick his brain for hours and hours and interview all of his staff. And like I said, my mom was raised in Fredericksburg, so I've been going there all my life to visit my grandmother.
Same here.
Still have the family homestead is still in the family. My cousins have it, and they're actually starting a vineyard
Nice.
and winery there. But I remember they got their first stoplight. I remember when Fredericksburg got their first Dairy Queen. I can just have so many memories.
That's very cool.
With his parents in Horseshoe Bay, watching it grow, and they were very helpful to us when we opened. We would call and they were just very, very helpful.
I remember as a kid going to Fredericksburg all the time, and it's amazing watching it transform from the 80s and 90s from being peaches and plums and all that kind of stuff to now grapes. It used to be you could drive down there and come pick plums or come pick peaches, come pick apples, come whatever, and now you don't see the orchards no more, and now you see the vineyards.
Right. I can remember picking peaches with my grandmother and selling them on the side of the road as a young child.
That's very cool.
6-7-year-old.
Yeah, I remember doing it. My mom making peach cobblers.
Yes.
So obviously, hill country, I think they say it's the number 1 tourist attraction in the state. And, so, we're hoping maybe sometime down the line we can do something, get something like that in East Texas.
Well, and I know right now in North Texas, the Highway 80. They're trying to do that right now because they runs from St. Joe all the way over to Farmersville and Greenville, and so they're trying to do that for like the 290 from Austin to Kerrville. They're trying to do that up in North Texas right now. So,
well, Richard, what is your vision there with that? I'm not because East is the one area we have not done a lot of East Texas yet, so we're excited to be here. What's your vision?
And we're in the Piney Woods wine group, and the big event we have is in Lindale. And we just had it in October, and they have one in I think it's April as well. So they
did not meet y'all there.
I'm sorry,
did not meet y'all there.
Where?
At the Lindale Wine Festival, because I was there.
Yes. I did meet you.
Okay.
You and Pat. Yes, y'all walked up. Yes, I do remember you at the very beginning when we at the first day.
Yep. First day on Friday.
First day on Friday. Yeah.
Yeah, I was there with Ron.
We were right next. Y'all were wanting to get into Red 55 or whatever.
Yes.
Lambert's, because we said, "Hey," and you're like, nice to meet you. But it was so nice being next to Miranda Lambert's winery.
I was literally trying to hit everybody's.
I knew you looked familiar.
I get that all the time. I used to be on milk cartons, by the way.
Yes, you were. It's awesome. Well, your facility here. Let's talk about it a little bit. The one thing I haven't explored is I looked out the backside here, and you have a huge area over here as well. So what all do I see here? This property?
Again, past these gates here is the original ranch and the ranch house, and there's an outside pavilion. There's a chapel. There's a big pond. There's other barns and all the equipment and so forth. And that's the and that's actually a separate property from the rest of the ranch, and that's how during COVID we were able to they come in, the patrons would come in here, buy their wine, and then walk across the fence line, which is another property, and they could sit there and we had the concerts and enjoy things. We found that out from a winery down in the hill country where when everything was closed, we went and visited them. You could buy the wine, and they had a little gate you went through to somebody's neighbor and property.
Okay.
And they had a tent set out and served there. So that's where
perfect.
we got the idea.
So it was already there. So that's the original part of this property then. And so it is, you use it for your wine clubs or different things, or wedding venues, or what do you got
And that's
going?
where Michelle's mom lives. In the ranch house. Her dad passed away a year and a half ago. And stuff.
Okay. That's where the elevator and the 2,000 bottle wine cellar is.
Beautiful. The elevator. I like it. That's cool.
Anytime you have to go downstairs in an elevator to get to the cellar, it's the best thing in the world.
That's always been one of my dreams. I have a 50 bottle cellar, not a 2,000 bottle cellar. So I counted my wine just last night, actually. That's cool. And so then out here we have pastures. So you have 160 acres, if I remember correctly. I might be off on that.
We have 140. And actually, so this was all pasture land. So when we put this in and put this road in, we literally cut it in half.
Okay.
So there's about 60 over there and probably 80 over here.
So there was no entrance from that way, and we put up the sign.
That was great.
The entranceway and all
ponds, that.
Okay.
This is 100% pasture land.
So if I were to wander, which I am known to do occasionally, so if I go out this way, I just see pastures. But if I go back, that's more private, probably.
So if he wanders, we need to put a cowbell on him.
Well, I am an explorer, so yes, very good. And then, so go ahead, Richard.
No, so in making the road, then we made where we added these ponds to get the dirt to make the road, and just as another feature, we put those big concrete things up, so if anybody had a little too much to drink, they wouldn't drive into the pond.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. I saw those. Yes,
I don't know anybody who drinks too much wine.
No.
Well, because it's pitch black out there. It's so dark because there's no electricity from here to the road.
Right.
So and these two city slicker. I mean, we didn't know what we're doing. First we dug a well, and tried to use well water, and that was just, the glasses weren't getting clean enough, and everything else. Then we put in rain tanks last spring. Had no rain. It's so funny. People come out and they look at these giant rain tanks. They're like, "Is that where you store your wine?" I'm like, "Yeah, it works really well when it's 108 degrees outside." These big old black things.
And we have it on tap, so you can smell how spoiled it is.
I love it. It's where the Longhorns get their wine consumption. Yes, well, that's beautiful. So as a wanderer, though, do folks have the liberty to kind of wander? They get a glass of wine. Do you encourage that, or is it more like the building scene, or what's kind of your operation?
They can wander on each side of this area,
the fenced-in area,
and you can see we're putting. We just put in a bocce ball court. Michelle here, our new manager, she specializes in cigars. And so we're putting in a whole cigar fire pit over there so people can enjoy.
I will be coming to see y'all.
Okay. And then we have, croquet and all kinds of games over there to encourage. We need to plant some trees over there. That's, I think, why people migrate over here. Well, one, the Longhorns, but two, the shade. There's more shade over here.
Okay.
But we have special events for our wine club over there.
Very nice.
We have dinners and things like that, and concerts, and we're going to be opening it up more and more just to wine club members as well as upstairs.
Perfect. Okay.
Something I've noticed in the most recent, last year, is that the whole cigar and wine pairing is starting to be a big thing lately.
It really is.
And actually, we were at the Valley View Wine Stroll, and Cigar Internationals were there. And I actually talked to the owner, and we need to get together with him, and he's wanted to do. Oh man, look here! You bring out some cigars, man. Don't tempt me like that.
That's pretty cool.
But I talked to him and he's like, yeah, wine and cigar pairing is like becoming a big thing now. Mm-hmm. And so I'm looking probably sometime next year to actually do an episode of them. And when y'all get that open up, if you give us a holler.
It's open. It's open. We have the fire pit out there and you can buy your cigars here and get your glass of wine. And
we may have to come out here and do an episode for that.
And
I got a wife that probably, not the cigars, but just enjoy the ambiance, right? The atmosphere sounds great.
I know my stepdad will love the cigar part of it because he's the one who actually got me back into cigars. But, there you go. I would love to come out and do an episode on that.
Oh, we would love for you to.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Michelle would love for you to. She's been in the cigar business for 2 decades. So she's very
well, shout out to Michelle. You get to meet Michelle, the operations manager or the general manager, whatever it is. Yeah, she's had a smile on her face the whole time. But
so the cigars, are they rolled here in Texas or are they actually, I
would need to get her over here. I know nothing about cigars. When I knew she had such a great, wonderful background. Michelle, are these cigars rolled here in Texas?
Oh,
Michelle, she can't hear me. Are these cigars rolled here in Texas? The cigars, are they rolled here in Texas?
Those were not rolled here in Texas.
Where are they from?
Those are from
Nicaragua.
Okay. Nicaragua.
So one of our other wineries we've done, Marker Cellars, right down the road from his winery is a cigar shop that they actually roll the cigars and sell them to him.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
You can do that.
I think so.
The Rojas.
Yeah. They're over there in by Bridgeport. Yeah.
Michelle can do that. We'll get that implemented, right? Yeah.
We need to do a podcast with the other Michelle, maybe. That sounds like
that's what I'm saying. We need to do another one for that.
I'll take another glass of that with Michelle and we'll talk cigars. Yes,
and I'll teach you how to smoke a cigar.
Oh, there you go. Yes, awesome. Okay, well, I'm going to shift gears here real quick. I want to talk wine. Is that okay if I talk wine with you guys? That would be great. And so I know you have your notes in front of you. So you said something beautiful earlier. I believe you said you're 100% Texas. Is that correct?
Texas grapes. Yes.
Texas grapes. Yep. And so you have your own vineyards, but you probably outsource. Is that correct? So tell me about where you're getting your grapes and tell me about your wines.
Well, as I'm sure you are learning in viticulture class that 95% of all Texas grapes are grown in the hill country. Mm-hmm. And I tease people, I said, the Texas High Plains. I said, back in the day, I think we called it the Panhandle, but nobody wants to drink a bottle of wine
from the Panhandle.
It has Panhandle written on it. So I said, you put the word high in front of anything like high life, high society, High Plains, Highland Park, whatever, then it sounds so much better.
Sounds more ritzy.
It sounds more ritzy. So we call it, the High Plains.
That's funny.
But we contract out with a number of different vineyards. And if it's a single vineyard, we do put their name on our bottle as well to honor them and work with them. And like I said, have direct contracts with them. But sometimes it's down the hill country. It's just, with the weather, the rain, the hail, the snow, the freeze, we try and be consistent with the same one. But if we can't, if there's, a crisis and the vineyard can't produce that year, we do source the hill country or other places.
Okay.
Our winemaker's really great and finding the different varietals that we need. But yes, we are proud to say that we're 100% Texas, and we are so excited that some of these grapes, these unknown grapes like our Barbera, our new sparkling wine that we have coming, it's actually a great grape that originated in Greece that grows very well here, and we're blending that with the Viognier to make our new sparkling.
That sounds great.
Yeah, it's delicious, and but yes.
Okay, and so you outsource, but then you have a list of wines. Tell us about some of the wines you're especially proud of, both of you, and then also maybe some awards you guys have won.
Yeah, your favorite ones. It doesn't have to be award-winning ones, but the ones that y'all like the best,
or be the ones that just sell the best. Because it's kind of tough to ask a winemaker what's your favorite baby. What's your favorite kid?
Your favorite kids?
Yeah, it's unfair.
Well, again, my favorites are more reds than the whites, but we do have a great white that I resisted for a couple of years. My son wanted a pick pull, and I'd never heard of it before, and he kept pushing for that. But it was also very hard to find a vineyard that was growing pick pull because there weren't that many acres being grown, and finally, this past year, our winemaker was able to source that, and we got a pick pull, and it has become an instant hit and popular,
very nice,
most popular whites and stuff.
Out of curiosity, where are y'all getting y'all's pick pull at?
From the High Plains.
Okay,
yeah, very nice.
And then, but my reds that I like again are the, I really like some of our bold, strong reds because prior to opening the winery, like the bold California cabs. And we have a very nice Cabernet but it's more of a medium body Cabernet, but it's also
Nice.
highly popular.
I bet.
But our Tannat, our Negro Amaro, those are the things that I
East
really
Texas.
like.
That's big East Texas. Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
And then Michelle, about yourself?
I like, and I don't think that he pointed out, our pig pool actually just won silver at the Houston Livestock Rodeo.
Nice.
And again, it's a young wine, so it's a 22. So it was surprising, but it's really nice. It's sort of a dangerous wine because it's so easy to drink. It's so light. My favorites, I love our Malbec. The very first year out, we were written up in, I think it's Texas Monthly is one of the 12 best wines in the state of Texas.
Wow.
Our Malbec, of course, it was a different vintage now, but we also have we have our chocolate covered Malbec, which is hugely popular and
Say it again.
tastes delicious.
Chocolate covered Malbec.
Chocolate covered
They're
Malbec.
candies.
They're candies right here. I'll pull them up here in a minute.
That's great.
Yeah, never mind. Let's see. My favorite. So we have a Nan's Leap. It's sort of a play on words. A Nan's Leap, and I'm sure everybody knows Stag's Leap. And that was one of the places we always visited when my dad would go to Napa was Stag's Leap. My mom's favorite was Frog's Leap, which is a Chardonnay back in the 90s and early 2000s. And we used to have leap year parties on leap year day and only serve Stag's Leap and Frog's Leap. So we came up with a Nan's Leap, and I actually found an old picture because we did a cattle drive. The 3 N's did a cattle drive back in 95. And so we're at the Fort Worth stockyard, and we're sitting on that fake bull that they have there. When we turn the bull into a longhorn, and we call it Nan's Leap. And it's a delicious blend. Richard, can you tell them what's it on here?
Right. Well, I was going to say most of our wines are single varietals, but this Nan's Leap is our first blend. And again, as Michelle said, it won a silver. So we were, and it was just bottled like 3 or 4 months ago.
Wow.
And so it's still very young. It's only going to get better. And so we were very pleased that it won a silver, and we were very proud of it. But it's 60% Cabernet Sauvignon, it's 20% Cab Franc, 15% Malbec, and 5% Tannat.
Yeah, Will knows that's you're talking my language right there, my friend.
And so we're very, very proud of that.
And I'm very proud of the silly little label and the play on words there between the Stag's Leap. Those who know wine, they're like, oh, and then we did that. So I also love the pig pool. We have a nice little Tempranillo, which is very light. We call it Ignatius after the patron saint Ignatius, who started the Jesuit order, and was all about education. My kids went to Jesuit, and we have a bunch of Jesuit teachers that come out and come to the winery. And so it's got Ignatius' picture on the front of the Tempranillo, and we give a portion of all sales to Jesuit Dallas outreach. Their outreach.
That's very cool.
That's awesome.
One of my other favorites is our Montepulciano Rosé, which has won silver and bronze.
I saw that, and I had Montepulciano from Square Cloud not too long ago. That was the first time I experienced that, and that definitely is a life-changing experience when you drink a good Montepulciano.
A good Montepulciano Rosé, and our winemaker, he does a fabulous Montepulciano Rosé. I mean, just year after year, it's the same. One of my favorites is our dry Riesling. And it's so funny because Texans will not drink Riesling. They think of Blue Nun. They think of sweet wine. And so a lot of times, they'll say, well, I want white. And I'll pour it. And they say, what am I drinking? I'm not going to tell you. And then they'll drink it and they're like, oh my God, this is delicious. And I said, well, it's a Riesling. And honestly, about half the time they'll go, oh, I don't want that.
Really? Just got named.
And the other half, they're like, I had no idea. Please give me a couple of bottles of it. But, people just think it's, I don't know if it's the U.S. or Texas. But
our wine tasting choices, we had the dry Riesling name there, and they rarely picked it, so we changed it to dry white or dry house
wine, which house
wine.
Wine.
Check that, and then they say, "Oh, we really like this one."
Oh, that's great.
I love me a good dry Riesling. Now, I'm not Riesling. I'm not a fan of. I'm a sweet guy, but not a sweet guy.
Well, and when you go to Europe, 95% of the Rieslings are not sweet.
Yeah. Right.
We just think of sweet because that's what they served in the 80s and 90s.
Well, when you're young, too, you tend to go more of a sweet mode. You get a Riesling. It's nice sweet from the grocery store, but you do dry Riesling as a whole different experience.
Dry Riesling is amazing. In fact, one of the wineries that him and I used to work at, when they would have the dry Riesling there, I would buy bottles of it to keep in my cabinet because it was so good. I loved it.
Yeah.
And I actually, when I drink it, when it's nice and cold and chilled, I think of green apples, Granny Smith apples sitting on the back porch.
Yeah, and that's kind of what the pick pull is like. We were talking with some people last night, and had never heard of pick pull, and I was explaining what a light citrusy, refreshing wine.
Who was it we had pick pull Blanc from the first time? Was it Breaking Bud?
Maybe. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Breaking Bud up in North Texas. He's just a vineyard. He's not a winemaker at all. And he sells his grapes. And we had our first experience with Pig Pole Blanc there as well. And yes, you're right. It is just a very citrusy tasting grape. And it was amazing. It was very crisp. And it was like 9,000 degrees outside as well.
That was nice.
Yes.
And that's one of the things that I've enjoyed is, again, because we have a lot of different wines, which aren't the mainstream type of wines. And it's just educating and letting the patrons try these different wines, get away from the Chardonnay, the Pinot Noir, the Merlot.
I love it.
I mean, they come and says, I'll take a Pinot Noir. So, well, we don't have that, but you can try this or...
You're helping folks to expand their horizons for sure. Yes. Well, good. Well, I know as we start getting towards the end of this podcast, we'll share our hearts a little bit. Michelle, maybe start with you. Just, outside the Longhorns, you're not allowed to bring up Longhorns because that definitely is a phenomenal attraction. What are some of the other things that set you apart, and what are you mostly excited about? But also, well, maybe we'll start with that. Then I'll start with finish with the second question.
What sets us apart? Okay. Wow. Our love for family, our love for friendship. We really just want people to have a unique experience when they come out. We did plant a vineyard, like we learned in viticulture class.
Right.
I think Andrew Snyder called it a petting vineyard. Yeah. So when people come out, they see your vine, then they don't question. Otherwise, they're like, well, where's your vineyard?
Super smart.
So they think that all 20 wines probably come from that.
That's pretty cute.
So we did partner with Texas A&M and Andy Walker and planted some of his Caminari Noir and Passante Noir 2 years ago. And we were very fortunate in that at 2 years, we got 3.5 tons.
Wow.
After only 2-year-old vines.
And that was our first harvest in July.
What? That's actually really impressive.
That is impressive.
It's crazy. And we don't know what we're doing
Weather.
here. I mean,
Weather,
we're literally sliding by the seat of our pants. So
that's the best way to learn things is by the seat of your pants.
Yes. And our winemaker's been phenomenal. We tasted them when we went for right before bottling a couple of weeks ago. And the Caminari Noir really tasted great. The Passante, we will probably end up adding it to a blend. What sets us apart? I don't know. I mean, I just think our location.
Yep.
I think the uniqueness, the decor, like I said, the Longhorns, and there's so many stories. We have so many stories. Like I said, the cattle drive. We try to tie our bottles of wine. Like if you'll grab that Nan Sleep, and are really trying now to, like, when we do a label, to always have a story behind the label or the wine or a reason.
I love that
reason
label.
to it.
That's a great
So,
label.
And make it fun. I mean,
yes.
Our original label or logo is an old butt sketch. I don't know if y'all remember the butt sketches that were big in the 90s and 2000. But there's just this artist is still there in Dallas, and he does butt sketches. And it's anyway.
You might have to elaborate.
See it everywhere.
We're both giving you a confused look.
Okay, Pat, will you hand me a bottle of wine that has a butt sketch on it? One of our original labels, the butt sketch label. There's a big picture of it up there.
When I hear butt sketch, I don't think it's not what I'm thinking.
I need to put. Well, he was an artist, and he's still around. Matter of fact, I saw him a couple of last year at the Benny Keith. So anyway, and so he goes to parties. He goes to parties and he sketches everybody's bottom.
Okay.
And so this was a big deal. So when we told my dad that we were going to do this, he initially said, he goes, well, this has got to be your label. This has got to be your label. So again, a plain word, just like I said, what we learned from Frog's Leap, their cork says ribbit. And so ours says bottoms up because our little cork. So just keep it fun, lively, unique, and being able to tell stories like that.
And that's your creativity coming out, isn't it? That's really that's really
an
fun.
Art major,
Art major,
so I love
fun.
Making the labels and really trying to be creative.
It sounds like you really are intentional about creating smiles and good times and memories and memorabilia and that sort of stuff
and
as well.
Telling stories. People, when you go to the table, either they don't want to be educated and don't want to, but there's that about 8% that do. Tell us about this wine. Tell us the story. Why'd you give it that name? Why?
The one thing I'm most proud of, again, is every one of our wines. There's not a single wine that we have, and that was one of my requirements in going into the winery, is that I don't want to have any wines that I don't like and I wouldn't drink.
That's
and
good
stuff. And so, we every one of them I would drink. I mean, like you said, there's ones that I prefer more, but there's not a single one that I think is not a.
And we feel very strongly about that. Yeah, if we would not sit down and drink it,
why sell it?
Yeah.
never
why sell it?
consider putting it out
Yeah.
here.
Well,
And another thing we love is music. We just feel like music, good food, music, and wine.
And great
what
company.
could be better? And
Great company.
we've stayed with the same bands since the day we opened, and they've just been phenomenal and loyal. And they drive a long distance from Fort Worth, Dallas, and they all love. Or begging to come back. How soon can we be back?
That's awesome.
It's one of the most beautiful things ever. Good wine, good food, good company, and just a great atmosphere. So
They're
that's
very
good.
Talented.
And Richard, what about yourself? You just share your heart real quick. What are you mostly proud of, and what are you excited about in the future?
So I just look for the continued growth. What's interesting is that when we have some of the concerts and just other patrons during the day, we've been open for 3 years. I mean, it seems like a long time so far, but every week, we have more and more people that have never been here. And like yesterday, we had a lot of people that came in for the first time and said, we're coming back.
Oh, that's great
stuff. So that's exciting.
A good pat on the back. That feels really good, doesn't it? Hard work, and then you get the rewards and the benefits of that. Yes.
Yep.
Good. Well, good. Well, anything else, you guys, that you want to share real quick? We're going to do a little educational topic. We'll do it in a minute, but I know we want to honor their time. They have a big day today for patrons. So anything else you want to share?
What?
I can't think of anything.
Well, where can people find you at?
On social media.
On social media, yeah. And we have a great website. It has all of our wines. We do ship anywhere in the state of Texas. But yeah, we have a really nice website that tells all about us, and then social media.
Winery.
Yeah, we're all over Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah, it was easy to find you online for sure. It was very, very good.
I mean,
Good job with that.
Very simple. You just the minute you type in triple N, and all of a sudden, boom, over the very first one that came up.
Good.
Yeah, it was good.
Well, that's good to know.
So whoever's doing your marketing does a very good job on their
That's
SEO.
me.
That's you. Awesome.
That makes me feel good because I don't know what I'm doing at the time.
Well, you two are an absolute treat. And stick around for a minute. I know you have a noon party pickup here.
Oh, we're fine.
We're
We're
gonna
fine.
honor
We've got plenty of stuff.
Okay.
To take care
Will,
of that,
anything else before we do our sponsors real quick?
It's always amazing to come into a new winery that we haven't been to.
Welcoming.
And
welcoming.
just welcoming and get to talk to them and understand about their whole journey.
Yeah.
And one thing that I have to say that almost every winery talks about, and it's one word, and it's God.
Mm-hmm.
Every winery we've been
We're in
to.
Texas, brother.
Oh yeah,
That's right.
God in Texas is God made the world and then made Texas next.
There you go. Wow.
But I mean, every winery all says the exact same thing because of God's blessing, because of God's blessing, because of God's blessing.
Well, with Mother Nature working against you almost every day, you got to have some sort of spiritual alignment to get through some of those days, right?
I think the reason why Mother Nature's upset is because God made her upset.
Well,
you know how guys and wives are,
Yes.
And I got to mention, yes, God blessed us with an incredible brother-in-law who's been our wine club manager since day one. He's the tall gentleman you see walking around behind getting ready for all the hundreds of people that will be here today.
Awesome.
Picking up their wine, Pat.
And Richard, that's your brother, or is that through a different?
He's married to my sister.
Okay, perfect. Okay,
awesome.
I saw him when I walked in. Another tall guy in the world, right? For sure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, awesome. Well, we'll just stick around for a minute. Real quick, let's do sponsors and let's just breeze through there. But we're really proud of this Texas Wine Club down in Fredericksburg, down in that area.
Y'all familiar with them? The Texas Wine Club down in Fredericksburg? Okay, awesome.
Yeah, they're great. They're really showcasing Texas wines, really not only in Texas, but outside now. They're really pumped about that.
Yeah.
I know I've been seeing a lot of great success stories from that great group of people down there.
Yep. And then, of course, obviously, y'all know Texas Wine Lover.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I saw y'all stuff on the app and stuff. And
they've signed up.
Jeff Cope.
Yep, Jeff
Yes.
Cope. Yep.
Excuse me. The Godfather.
Yeah, his name is Godfather. So now when you see
we
him,
changed his name.
yeah,
Okay.
when
he's
you
Godfather.
see him, you got to call him Godfather. And when you see Amy, her name's Wonder Woman.
Yeah, Amy's Wonder Woman. Yeah.
So if you got to talk to them, send them the message, "Hey, Godfather,"
Okay.
and he's going to talk like this.
Well, in college as a DJ, I did voices, and so when I think of Jeff, I think of the Godfather. Godfather.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
and then flywithwine.com, another really fun partnership.
Yes. Have y'all heard of them?
No, I'm trying to write these down.
There you go.
So Fly with Wine actually makes luggage to ship wine in.
Okay.
That's what they specialize in. So I contacted them and said, "Hey, would y'all like to be a sponsor of our show?" And they said yes. And next thing you know, I get a hard case luggage for a case of wine with our name on it.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah. So I mean, literally, it's amazing, and I believe they insure your wine when you're putting in the pad.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
but it's
pretty
all
cool.
padded inside of the luggage. It's really, really nice.
Yeah.
It's so different than the old days when you used to be able to carry all
that?
your cases on. Yes,
Yep.
we used to go to Europe with my parents and spend weeks and weeks, and we'd put all our dirty clothes in boxes and ship them home, and then fill all of our suitcases with the wine.
I still have wine in my house from 1995 trip to Europe through Italy and France, and I shipped them. I brought them home on the airplane. It was just amazing. It was so much better. But so we're here, obviously having a great time. We appreciate. We're going to be back in a minute with takeaways, and then unless you want to do takeaways now, Will.
Oh, I did my takeaway. How everything's all about God.
Yeah. Well, my takeaway is really just the beautiful facility here, and it's so important to really put some effort into that. I think it's attractive. I think people are going to love it for years and years and years, and it's a legacy thing probably. And I just think that you two have done a really nice job with your vision and putting that into action, and then of course now continually working. But obviously, you've done a great job, and there's going to be people lined up out there to see the Longhorns here shortly, including us. If we have time. So Triple N Ranch and Winery, Richard and Michelle, we're grateful for you. So stick around. We'll be back in a minute.
Thank you so much. Thank you for this opportunity. You guys are great.
Appreciate it. Cheers.
Cheers.
Hey, this is Jeff Coe from TexasWineLover.com. We're here with Will, Michael, and Jen from We Know Texas We Know.
And this is Amy Nemec with the Texas Wine Lover mobile app. We're wrapping up the interview and moving into the wine education portion of the episode, so stick with us.
Welcome back, everyone. Episode 42, We Know Texas Vino. It's been so much fun so far.
We're sitting out here at Triple N Ranch and Winery.
Yes, we are.
Or is it Winery and Ranch?
I think it's Ranch and Winery.
It's Triple N Ranch, Winery, and Vineyard, actually.
Oh, we've been saying it wrong this whole time.
Sorry about that.
Right. No worries.
Bad. Yes.
No worries.
Radio edit.
Could have read the little the stopper right there. So, so we're out here with Richard and Michelle. It's been a great interview so far. They're wonderful, kind, just a real uplifting couple. But we're going to talk about a little education today, and it's one I've been thinking about for over a month.
Okay.
Most of these wineries, the majority, 95%, have a wine club membership. And now to you two, I'm going to direct this obviously to you. How much value does that add to what your vision and also the enjoyments of building those relationships? How much fun is that, Richard, to have a wine club member? Tell us about yours, and then how that has really uplifted your business model.
Well, again, we've been very pleased with the growth of our wine club, and again, having gone to dozens of the wineries down in the Hill Country, and seeing how their wine clubs have evolved, and kind of, and even in California, going out to Napa and just looking at all the wine club memberships and taking the different parts from the different wine clubs, and this is how we developed ours. And we were amazed at how quickly that our wine club grew when we first started. But more importantly is all the customers and wine club members who now become very good friends.
That's great.
A lot of them are, they'll be out today, obviously, because it's wine club pickup, which is like most places 4 times a year. But they've also, a lot of them come several days a week. And,
that's great.
And gotten to know them very well.
And do you have discounts for those wine club members? Probably they get wine every 4 times a year, but what kind of discounts? We have again, our model is like many. It's a 3-bottle, 6-bottle, or 12-bottle. They get 10%, 15%, or 20%. Perfect.
They get a complimentary glass of wine every week. They come. Invitation to different events, discount tickets on the tribute concerts. The 12-bottle wine club members get complimentary tickets to the events, so they can just pop over and for the concerts. And
that's actually a really nice touch. That's a great touch right there.
And then we have we have a lot of dinners, wine pair dinners, and so forth.
Nice.
Cool. And then Michelle, I'm sure it just seems like you're kind of that person when people walk in the door, they probably are immediately attracted to your energy a little bit. So would you agree with Richard, of course, that is wine club has been a great benefit to your organization?
Yes. Most wineries will tell you that it's like their bread and butter.
Okay.
It's what they depend on. And especially, those loyal people coming back, and hence you give them a free glass of wine every week when they come in. So then they're going to come in and they're going to bring friends and bring friends. But to me, the main thing is having the right person. And like I said, Pat Blanchard, our brother-in-law, is by far the right person. He was a teacher, a coach, and a principal. Very people person oriented, and he's great. They love him, and because he's got to reach out to hundreds and hundreds of people on a regular basis and get their credit card changed, get their. We allow all of our wine club members, which is unusual, to pick exactly what they want. We don't just take what's in inventory or what we're trying to push out. We let them get exactly what they want and even change it the day of. Sometimes they'll come for the wine club pickup and they'll be picking up their 6 bottles. They'll try some of our new because we're constantly getting new. We have 8 new pallets coming in this next week. And they'll want to change half of it out. And it's like, not a problem. Here we go. Let's let them get exactly what they want.
That's something I've been seeing lately from more wine clubs.
I was going to mention that.
Is that they're, instead of saying, you only get this and this and this and this,
right.
A lot of the wineries are saying, hey, you know what? If you want this wine right here, you can have this part of your wine club, and we'll give you.
Well, I've seen it, and so maybe it's part of you guys mentioned earlier during the earlier interview that you guys like to pick people's brains, and you did that whole experience. And I've taught my own children that you learn. Someone has fruit on the tree, no pun intended, but literally they have something that you want to achieve. Go talk to them. Go interview them. If I want to be a surgeon, I'm going to talk to Richard, right? If I want to be a troublemaker, I talk to Michelle. Now, you want to make sure you take advantage of those opportunities. But is that a like a final result of you interviewing people, saying, "Listen,
we collected a lot of these wine club
we have files upstairs.
We just every time we were at a new winery, we'd take their wine club thing and then sit there and design how we wanted to do ours. And
perfect.
Having gone to wineries for 30 years,
And we still do that. We were recently in Napa with Hall Winery. They were doing a whole educational on making wine, and we were actually out picking. What type of grape did we pick? Some Merlot, some of their Merlot grapes.
Go into their
and we spent the afternoon with 60 other people making a cab from blending 5 different vineyards of their cab, and so that's where the chemist came out, and Richard. So we're just constantly educating. But while we were there, again, we were picking up and getting ideas. And we also take our staff once or twice a year to the Hill Country, and our friends at William Chris, at Becker,
Ron Yates,
and Ron Yates are nice enough to let us come in and with 5-6 staff members, and they do the whole training and tasting with them. They're very nice. I mean, people in the wine club industry are usually very helpful, always able, and we would do the same. If anybody came and said, "I'm bringing my group of 6, and will you tell us?"
I think it's so cool that they take their staff and they equip them for success. When they come back here, they're completely ready to talk and contribute.
Yep. But recently they had a Hill Country Road Show up in Dallas-Fort Worth.
Right.
And Ron Yates was up. I got to meet him, and I'm like, you are nowhere near what I pictured you to be.
He's so funny.
Does he have a big beard?
No.
Oh, okay.
He's got long hair.
He's got a beard.
Okay.
Well, no, when I saw him, he did have a beard.
Oh, did he shave it?
Yeah, he had long hair, though.
Okay. Sometimes we call him Jesus. A lot of people.
Jesus, that's what I thought. He had a long beard. Yeah. Well, awesome.
But I mean, Ron Yates is when I met him, and just for like 10 minutes talking to him, that man's got so much more. He's got more knowledge in his pinky finger than I do about wine in my head.
Well, a lot of names have surfaced all throughout our year, and Ron Yates keeps coming up, right?
True love of life. It's funny enough because he grew up in Horseshoe Bay. Richard's dad was best friends with his dad, and so we known Ron as a wild and crazy teenager.
My mom knew him.
Yes, it was always.
My mom was always one that tries to tell these young men what they need to be doing. And Ron was probably kind of like Michelle, just free-spirited and all that.
Well, Ron Yates, if you ever listen to this, you're in big trouble.
Well, no, it's funny because sometimes I'd go and say, "Hey, Ron," and he was like, "Your mother-in-law scared the shit out of me."
I love it. That's so cool.
That is awesome.
Well, so we'd all agree that the wine club memberships are super valuable, and I like you said, it's really the meat and potatoes of what you're trying to accomplish here, and especially during like a COVID epidemic, that probably was huge if you were at that point. But I know a lot of wineries are, so yeah, it's pretty cool. Well, good. Well, thank you for that. I think our listeners will benefit from that, and come down here. Come down to this great winery and join their wine club. 3, 6, 12 bottles, 24 bottles, whatever makes you happy. That's pretty cool. Yeah, palate. We've had great wines today.
Especially this time of year, we always tell people, pick up some extra bottles for the holidays.
That's right.
For gifts.
Yes.
Well, drink, when you're spending time with family for several days, you need that extra wine to get through it.
And you definitely do.
And I have a buddy who's now engraving. I think you do that. They engrave bottles. And I tell him today, I said, do you do full bottles? Like you engrave Merry Christmas or whatever on it? He's like, yeah, I do that. So I should bring a lot of wine to him. Do you do that as well?
I mean, I could.
Okay, that's what he does. So that was my rate. So get some wine from here, put some cool things on it, and send it out.
Yes.
Well, good. Well, thank you guys very much. So we always wrap it up here with just a couple quotes, and then we want to just. And so I have 2 quotes today, and this hopefully will benefit and add value to you and your staff. I know you're going to require them to listen to this podcast before they get paid.
Absolutely.
So, Michael's quotes are usually really obscure quotes. By the way.
Okay.
Well, I'm a researcher. I come from education as well, and I come from marketing, so it's pretty important. So the first one is a lot of fun. Spilling a glass of wine is the adult equivalent of letting go of a balloon. No?
That's pretty deep.
That's deep. The adult equivalent of letting go of a balloon. Now, here's the last one. Here's to the corkscrew, a useful key to unlock the storehouse of wit, the treasure of laughter, the front door to fellowship, and the gate of pleasant folly. How's that sound?
It's kind of heavy.
That's heavy as well.
Kind of heavy.
Those are 2 heavy ones. Those are my,
in terms of the first quote, I'd rather let go of a balloon than spill my wine.
I had to agree with you on
perfect.
that one.
So perfect. We just think of all the people who spill their wine. They have this traumatic look on their faces, and they're like, I can't believe I just did that. Well, as a little boy losing a balloon, probably the same effect. So,
yes.
Well, good. Well, we're here at We Know Texas Vino. Thank you guys so much for what you've done.
We're
at Triple N Ranch Winery and
Vineyards.
There we go. And we met a great couple. Please come meet Richard and Michelle, their entire staff. It's going to be amazing. But we had a good time.
Yep.
Great. This is We Know Texas Vino. Cheers.